Today is the day that I know a lot of people have been waiting for. Today is the day that you can start applying for the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. People are calling it CERB. I was calling it CERB because I thought CE was an S sound, but I guess the consensus is CERB. So I'm calling it CERB now. Today's the day that you can start applying for that. If you're born in January, February, or March, then you can apply today. April, May, June is tomorrow. July, August, September is Wednesday, and then October, November, December is Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday is kind of a free-for-all. You can apply no matter when your birthday was. So I have heard from a number of people that it is very easy to apply. They ask you a few questions. The portal, I guess, is working quite well, and I've heard from somebody who phoned, and that's working well too. So good news. So far, so good. This morning, Trudeau said that there was 240,000 people had already applied. And that was at 11:15 Eastern this morning. So that's great. Not applied, but successfully went through the process, I should say. Trudeau this morning also announced a few things that are related to the CERB, and he suggested that they're going to be changing some of the requirements because, like I was talking about on the weekend, this benefit really misses the point of what it's trying to do in some cases, where it's trying to support people and small business owners and make sure that the economy is going to be okay when we come out of this pandemic nonsense. And it's penalizing people that can work at a reduced amount because you have to be income free for 14 days. So they they suggested that in the coming week or 2 weeks that they were going to change the requirements for CERB. And specifically what he mentioned was if you're working 10 hours or less or you're making $500 a month or less, 10 hours per week or less, or $500 a month or less, you might still be able to apply for this CERB benefit. And I think, he also mentioned that perhaps students who would have worked this summer might also be eligible to apply. So I'm hoping that comes out in the next week, 2 weeks. I know that he's recalled Parliament, and that's kind of a big piece of it. He's got to talk to the opposition because right now they're just sort of spitballing and not really talking to anybody. Well, that's not fair. They're talking to people, but until they recall Parliament and have a proper yell at each other about it, then there's not really anything to concretely say. He did say, though, that they chatted with the banks, like the big 6 banks, and the banks are willing to cut interest rates on credit cards by 50% if you're impacted by the pandemic. So if that would be useful for you, I recommend calling the bank and asking for that service. Is it called a service? It's a service. Because if you're carrying a balance month to month, or you think you're going to carry a balance, then that could be a huge difference. Most credit cards are like 19.99% interest. So if you could reduce that to 10%, then that would be a significant savings in some cases. So do that if you need to. They also announced the Canada Business Resiliency Network, and he wasn't really very clear about what that actually is, but it's the government and Chamber of Commerce have sort of come together to create a website that's a central place to go and look for information for all the benefits and the way that Canada is responding to the pandemic and like all the things. So I clicked around a little bit. It's pretty good. And it's a good, trusted source of information because there's a lot of things flying around right now, a lot of interpretations of loosely worded laws and guidance from the CRA, and so there's a lot of misinformation out there, as well as all this conflicting information in some cases. So this Canada Business Resiliency Network, it's www.cbrn.ca, and it's a great place to go for really accurate and complete information. So I'm excited for that. I hope that it will cut down on the confusion, because I know there's a lot of people that really don't know how all this is working, and I mean, it's tough to navigate when you've got, the Prime Minister saying a few things, and then sometimes there's updates on the CRA's website, sometimes they're behind a day, which in this environment, behind a day is significant. Usually behind a day doesn't matter, but in this environment, it's pretty significant. So that's a really great one-stop shop for all things Canada related in terms of the pandemic. And that was the big news of the day. I am so excited. I think I'm the most excited about this change in the CERB benefit, because I know a lot of people wanted to continue working even if it was at a reduced amount, but then heard like, oh, well, then I don't qualify for this CERB benefit, so like, why would I do that? And in some cases, it's, they're able to shut down and it sucks, but it's not like they're not working in required jobs, like people who are working in like seniors homes or assisted living or personal care workers, or the people that need to continue working but that perhaps aren't making the full CERB benefit, the full $2,000 a month. So if you're less than 10 hours a week or less than $500 a month, I don't know details on that yet, they could be, changes will definitely be coming. That could be the new requirement to be eligible for CERB. I know a lot of people fall through the cracks in terms of paying themselves dividends. If you have only received dividends from your company in 2019 or in the last 12 months, then book a call with me. Let's chat about your options, because there might be something we can do. If you have questions at all about how to take advantage of any of the benefits that the government has announced, then book a call with me. I've left my link in the description. It's free 30 minutes. And we'll just bang through as many questions as you have. Write them down, bring a list, and we'll get through as many as we can. In the description, in the comments, I'd love to know your experience with applying for CERB. If you've done it, let me know how it went. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it neither one of those? Whatever you got for me, I'd love to hear it. I'll see you tomorrow.